had a very difficult time coming on here and deciding whether or not I wanted to talk about what happened on NXT last night. I honestly did not want to. And I look at a bunch of different aspects as far as my decision goes. I wanted to come on here because I feel like I owe it to you guys because it was a newsworthy show, and I owe it to myself because I've been so invested in everything that Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa have done. I didn't want to come on here because I see the interest in and around the community. I see the interest on YouTube. I see the interest from the fans when it comes to not only pro wrestling on Wednesday night, but pro wrestling on Wednesday night in its current state. Pro wrestling in general in its current state. I don't want to come on here and waste my time. I don't think any content creator wants to come on here and record something and upload something and get my boy to do a beautiful thumbnail, all for it to be a waste of time. I don't want that to happen. I don't like feeling that way. I don't want to produce something and I don't want to upload something that I know people don't have any interest in watching. It's not why we are YouTube content creators. It's not why I do the wrestling podcast thing. Obviously, I upload and I give my thoughts and I really dive deep into what I watched to express to you guys. I want people to hear it. It's the fucking point if I'm going to come on here and talk about something and nobody gives a shit about what I'm talking about. I see it in the community with the AEW views. The views for AEW were some of the best on the channel. Week in and week out. No matter what happened. 3 weeks ago, we had Matt Hardy, or 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whenever, Matt Hardy debuted on AEW Dynamite. One of the biggest Dynamite reviews, view-wise, I've ever did. It's sad to see that get nearly 40,000 views. And then last night's show, where we got the start of the TNT Championship Tournament, it barely has done 10,000 views. And I look at other people in the community and they're complaining and worried about the same thing. Nobody wants to upload something and then not have it be viewed. It is demoralizing. It is defeating. It's not good. So I know the interest in the community is not there. Wrestling in its current state sucks. The world in its current state sucks. The economy is dead. Or it's about to be dead if this thing continues on anymore. Pro wrestling cannot be viewed in this way. The way that they are presenting pro wrestling, I refuse to really watch. I do out of necessity at this point. If I didn't have the channel, and I'm being completely honest with you guys, if I didn't have the channel, I would not be watching pro wrestling. I can't do it. People are more prone to watch an MLB game with no crowd, or a football game with no crowd, or an NHL game with no crowd. I don't think people want to watch wrestling with no crowd. It's humanly impossible to enjoy this shit to the fullest extent with no crowd. The crowd and the live interaction and the live audience is the lifeblood of pro wrestling. I think we've all come to realize that. And if I had a choice in the matter, I wish WWE would stop operation. I wish AEW would stop operation. It's not like they're stopping for some bullshit reason. They're stopping because everything around them has stopped. Yet we got Triple H and Vince McMahon and WWE management and Tony Khan and Cody Rhodes and all of the elite operating as if nothing is going on with this mindset of, oh, we're bringing happiness and we're bringing people entertainment to take their worries away from the real life shit that's going on. It's not working that way. It's not working as they had intended it to work. When I watch this shit, I become more depressed because I know what I love out of these shows, we're not even getting 25% of that. You can put on a great match You can put on a great Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa match. You can have 6 women go out there and absolutely fucking kill themselves. Kenny Omega could give me a fucking 20-minute great match with Trent. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. Because all I'm looking at are men and women who know how to fucking perform and are great at their job, and they're not getting anything back. They're not getting anything for the effort that they have put in. Because that crowd, that live audience, that fan interaction that loves them, that wants to cheer, holy shit, fight forever, you know? This is awesome. It's not there. It's not there. And when you watch at home and you hear nothing but grunting and hear nothing but the sound of the mat banging up and down, left and right, it's not fun. It just accentuates everything that's going on in the world today, and it's not really a good feeling. And by that, people are not interested. Views are down for everything, really. Friday, views are down on SmackDown. Nobody wants to watch an empty SmackDown show. It's terrible as it is, and it's even worse when there's nobody there. Monday Night Raw sucks. WWE has gone about the empty arena shows in the worst fucking way possible. They've gotten more lazy than any time in their entire fucking life. No matter what people say, oh, they're putting the show on for you and entertainment. The show sucks. The show fucking sucks, okay? Stop sugarcoating shit and just fucking be honest with everybody. The show sucks. Dynamite sucks. NXT sucks. It all sucks. It all sucks. Do I appreciate them going out there and risking themselves? Yes, I do. But at the end of the day, the shows suck. The shows suck. They should not be intended to be watched in the current state that it's in. I watched this Johnny Gargano match with Tommaso Ciampa last night. And I felt like I had to come on here and talk about it because I owed myself. Not only do I owe you guys, because it's a newsworthy match. It's a culmination of like 3 years. I've invested myself in these guys for 3 years. And if I just went about not talking about it, I feel like I wouldn't be doing my job. I wouldn't be showing them respect. After investing so much of my time in what they've tried to tell us as far as story goes. I had to come on here and talk about it. I'm not going to make a big production out of this and not going to sit here and pretend like this is some big podcast. I just want to go over what happened last night and give my thoughts on what I think is not the end. It's not the end of Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. I want to go over the women's match and explain to you guys that Io Shirai winning does not mean good things in the future. Does not. It does not. All I seen was, all right, who are we going to feed Charlotte Flair to now? Who are we going to add to Charlotte Flair's resume? That's all I seen. I didn't see Io Shirai, one of the best women's wrestlers on the fucking planet, heralded by some as the best women's wrestler on the planet. All I seen was Charlotte Flair's next victim. And that's the God-honest truth. And that's pretty much NXT last night. They're doing this USA takeover thing on Wednesday night. And I can't invest myself in anything that they're doing to my fullest extent. It's like half of me is there. Half of me doesn't want to be watching. So we're going to go over what happened on NXT last night with this 6-woman ladder match and then the Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano cinematic brawl. It was not even a match. Again, I'm not even going to call it a match. It was a brawl. It was two guys in an unsanctioned, I guess Triple H sanctioned it. It was two guys in the most barest of fucking just environments beating the shit out of one another. There was a referee there just to see that nobody got fucking killed. There was a referee there to see that the 3 count was made, but I wouldn't technically call it a match. It's not a match. This is not the way that they intended this thing to go out. It's not a match. What they did leading up to this, those were matches. I don't count this as a match. It's going to be a little asterisk next to the entire story that is this feud. Johnny Gargano got the one-up on Tommaso Ciampa in this brawl at Full Sail University. That's all it was. It was a brawl. Let's talk about this women's match first, man. Io Shirai defeated Teagan Nox, Chelsea Green with Robert Stone, Mia Yim, Candice LeRae, Dakota Kai. She was with Raquel Gonzalez. Number one contenders ladder match. Women's number one contender ladder match. The winner of this match faces Charlotte Flair. Should be the winner of this match is Charlotte Flair's next victim. That's all I seen when watching this match. Now, by process of elimination here, Charlotte Flair is the women's champion, right? Undeservedly so, by the way. Unnecessarily so, by the way. By process of elimination here, who do you think, just by looking at the names, was going to win this thing? Was it overly predictable? I say so. Teagan Nox had no chance of winning this match. They were not going to do Teagan Nox versus Charlotte Flair. They didn't give Charlotte Flair the fucking women's championship to have her go one-on-one with Teagan fucking Nox. Just throwing that out there. They didn't give Charlotte Flair the women's championship to go one-on-one with Mia Yim. They didn't give Charlotte Flair the women's championship to go one-on-one with Candice LeRae, though I love Candice. They didn't give Charlotte Flair the women's championship to go one-on-one with Chelsea Green. And they didn't give the women's championship to Charlotte Flair to go one-on-one with Dakota Kai. Io Shirai was the logical winner even before she made her entrance last night in an empty Full Sail University. Now, all the faces teamed up on Kai until Shirai leapt into the ring with a missile dropkick. So Shirai was fighting with LeRae, Green, Bulldog, both of them onto a ladder. Green was bringing a chair into the ring. Green then takes a bump on the chair when Mia Yim tripped her up. So we got Nox and Dakota Kai. Early on, we got Nox and Dakota Kai, and that's a throwback to the little mini feud that they had. So they traded strikes. Kai delivered a face wash. Nox came back seconds later with a chokeslam. Green was driven into the guardrail when she lost a tug of war with Nox over the ladder. So during that back and forth, everyone tried climbing the ladder after it was set up. A second ladder came into the ring. Green hit Yim with the chair right in the back. Yim whacked Green in the leg with the chair, so she kind of repaid Chelsea Green for hitting her with the chair. And Green's foot became trapped in the ladder. That took Green out of the match for a while. She sold the leg. Robert Stone was on the outside. He didn't know what the fuck to do. He was telling her to get back in the ring. Everything's going to be okay. He came into play a little bit later. Shirai then comes in and catapults him into the ladder. Shirai then hits a huge splash. This was probably the highlight of the match. Shirai was on the ladder. Mia Yim was the one pushing the ladder over. So Io Shirai was about to fall to the outside. Io Shirai, in midair, is falling off this ladder, jumps to the top rope, and then does a springboard crossbody on top of everybody to the outside. It was a thing of beauty. Now you know why she won the match in the end and is going one-on-one with Charlotte Flair. So we got Raquel Gonzalez. She got involved and she picked up Kai. I guess she was out of the match for a little bit. She put Kai up on her shoulders in a fireman's carry, tried to climb the ladder with Kai on her shoulders. LeRae cut her off. Yim was trying to powerbomb off the apron, and Nox came in for the assist to help put Gonzalez through a table at ringside. So Yim and Gonzalez got into it, and Gonzalez was trying so hard to fight off this powerbomb by Mia Yim. There was a table set up on the outside. Teagan Nox came in, and if you guys were watching TakeOver, or the last TakeOver that they did in Portland, it was Dakota Kai and Teagan Nox, and Raquel Gonzalez chokeslammed brutally Teagan Nox through a table that did not break. If I remember, the table did not break. So this was a similar spot to that, but in this instance, it was reversed. The roles were reversed. So Teagan Nox assisted Mia Yim while she powerbombed. Teagan Nox grabbed Raquel Gonzalez by the throat, said, "This is payback," and she went right through the table. Mia Yim went right through the table. Kai then booted Nox off the apron, and Nox crashed into a ladder that was set up for a ladder bridge. She was taken out of the match completely. She did not show face again in this match. Kai and LeRae were fighting on top of the ladder, and LeRae smacked Kai with the briefcase hanging above them. Shirai came in with a springboard into the ring, knocked Kai off the ladder. Shirai and LeRae both went down after trading German suplexes. Robert Stone, still on the outside with Chelsea Green, was yelling at Green to get in, climb up the ladder with everybody else down. You got this, we can celebrate later. Green was selling her leg very well, selling her leg. She couldn't climb. Stone then took it upon himself to jump into the ring and climb up the ladder to help Green. Now, I didn't really understand this because I was thinking about James Ellsworth. And I don't know why I'm mentioning James Ellsworth on an NXT review, but didn't James Ellsworth win the women's Money in the Bank the first time around for Carmella by grabbing the briefcase? It's like stupidity runs in WWE, and it's contagious. It's more contagious than whatever's going on right now. Robert Stone could have easily grabbed the briefcase and handed it to Chelsea Green. There's no fucking rules. So he's on the ladder yelling at Chelsea Green, knowing she's got a bum leg. So I didn't really understand that when I'm thinking about James Ellsworth. We had a fucking man grab the briefcase and win the Money in the Bank women's ladder match a couple of years back. Didn't really make sense to me. So Green was selling her leg. Stone was yelling at her. LeRae and Shirai teamed up to tip the ladder over. Both Green and Stone fell off the ladder on top of the ropes. They're out. Shirai and LeRae were fighting up the ladder. Shirai raked Candice's eyes, and LeRae fell backwards, and she took a plunge into a ladder that was set up in a bridging way across the ropes. Shirai then unhooked the briefcase to win the match, and Shirai is the number one contender for the NXT Women's Championship. That was it. I don't want to say the women didn't work their ass off, because they did, but I'm telling you again, just like the ladder match, even though it was very good at WrestleMania between John Morrison, Kofi Kingston, and Jimmy Uso, ladder matches do not work. They do not work. This match did not work. All I heard was women grunting. All I heard was women shrieking and fucking growling and yelling and screaming. That's all I heard. This type of match does not work without a live audience. If there is one thing we all know, pro wrestling cannot thrive and succeed without a live audience. You're going to add a stipulation like this into the mix, it's going to be worse than what we are originally watching. It doesn't work. And the fact that it didn't work, this match felt underwhelming. This is not what we would have seen if this was live at a takeover in front of 13,000 people. So it makes me wonder, why do we even bother at that point? We're just doing things to get by what we already had planned, and everything is coming off in the most unceremonious way. It doesn't even feel important. This didn't feel important. This match was underwhelming at best. Though the women worked their ass off, I would not go back and watch this again. Now, another thing that I thought of. Money in the Bank is going to happen. WWE is clearly going ahead with Money in the Bank. This was a Money in the Bank ladder match for the women. We just got done seeing 2 steel cage matches. We got done watching an Elimination Chamber. WWE goes through these periods. Cage match, cage match, cage match, right? We had 2 steel cage matches on NXT a few weeks back. Now we got ladder matches. We got 1 ladder match at WrestleMania. We got 1 ladder match here. We got Money in the Bank coming up. How many fucking ladder matches? How many steel cage matches? The more they do these things, the less they mean. And I know that resonates with you guys. I don't complain for the sake of complaining. Now we gotta watch 8 other women on the WWE main roster go for Money in the Bank. After we just seen a Money in the Bank ladder match here. How important is Money in the Bank gonna be when we just seen it happen here? Doesn't mean much to me. How much is it going to mean when that match is taking place with the main roster women in front of no audience? You thought this was underwhelming. Holy shit. Please spare me the Money in the Bank women's match on the main roster. Io Shirai is the number 1 contender. Oh joy, here are the fucking cretins on social media. Oh my God, I can't wait. This is great. This is a fantasy matchup waiting to happen. What fantasy? Io Shirai, before she even came to the WWE, her dream opponent in the WWE, Charlotte Flair. Her dream is going to become a fucking nightmare. If you think that WWE gave Charlotte the NXT Women's Championship to drop it to Io Shirai after they made some big fucking spectacle over Rhea Ripley winning the fucking title, you may be as dumb as I think you are. Give me a break. Io Shirai is beloved by everybody. You talk to anybody. Who's your favorite women's wrestler? 9 out of fucking 10 times, they're going to mention Io Shirai. Who's the best women's wrestler in the world? 9 out of 10 times, they're going to mention Io Shirai. Why are they doing Io Shirai for Charlotte Flair? Because Charlotte Flair needs another fucking world-acclaimed women's wrestler to have on her resume defeated. I don't know what you guys expect me to tell you. You want me to be excited about this match happening in the current situation that we're in after Charlotte just beat Rhea Ripley for the Women's Championship? Does Io stand 1 iota of a chance? No. No. I don't give a fuck if the match is better than Kenny and Okada. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit if Meltzer gives it 9 stars. It doesn't matter. They do it for Charlotte. How many times you guys have to see me fucking rant and rave about this fucking android? This was a waste of time. This was a waste of time. Whatever's coming up is a waste of time. I'm not getting excited over something that I know is inevitably going to happen. Bullshit. Absolutely bullshit. Now, what's WWE's plan? Are they going to have Rhea Ripley beat Charlotte Flair for the fucking title? What good does that do? What good does that do? Who's going to take the title off of Charlotte Flair? It should have been Rhea Ripley with the championship beating Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. But we know we can't beat Charlotte at WrestleMania. What difference does it do for Charlotte Flair to have that championship? Absolutely nothing. What you needed to do was have Rhea go into WrestleMania and beat Charlotte Flair on a main roster show. What are you going to do? Have Charlotte drop the title to Rhea Ripley on a fucking episode of NXT on Wednesday? What good does that do? You're right back to square one, if not worse. Because you already stifled Rhea Ripley's momentum. What Rhea needed to do was beat Charlotte on her show. So spare me the fucking bullshit I see on social media. Oh, why is he yelling? It's always the same shit. Nobody learns. Nobody gets it. I get it. That's why you're here. Fucking ridiculous. And this is the point I will make every single time I talk about this fucking robotic bitch. Every single time. You don't understand what is coming. You don't understand what you're watching. I'd love for someone to fucking prove me wrong. Where's Rhea gonna win the title? Oh, I don't know why he's yelling. They're setting up a rematch. What good's the fucking rematch if it's gonna happen on NXT TV or an empty arena for Money in the Bank or an empty arena for fucking Battleground or whatever the fuck pay-per-view they got? SummerSlam. Who gives a shit at that point? You're gonna have Rhea chase the fucking championship all the way to August? Should have been done at Mania. Should have been done at Mania. More eyes are going to be on Mania than they will on SummerSlam. Unreal. We got Indus Sher. That's their name. Rinku and Sararv. If I'm even pronouncing his name right. With Malcolm Bivens. They defeated Everrise. Cheap plug, BlueChew.com. You want Everrise? Code JD, BlueChew.com. Now, I don't know what to think about these guys. I really don't. What do you want me to tell you about these guys? It's like I'm watching not one but two Jinder Mahals in the ring. This is what I get. This is the vibe that I get. Two Jinder Mahals in the ring on NXT TV. Now, do they look great? Absolutely. Do they look like a monster team? Absolutely. But so did AOP. So did the Viking Raiders. Where are they? How have they fared on the main roster? Where are the Viking Raiders now? Nowhere. So why am I going to get excited about these guys when two other teams before them that were made of the same fucking mold, cut from the same cloth, monster teams, big guys? What is Vince going to do when he eventually sees these guys? The same thing that he did with every other fucking team that he brought up to the main roster. They will wither away into nothing. Just like everybody else. I want to get behind these guys because I love tag team wrestling. But I don't look at these guys as two guys that are, oh my God, I can't wait to see them. I can't wait to see these guys succeed. And it looks like they're still green as fucking grass. They can't even get the monster squash down. They look like they're miscommunicating. Even in a fucking squash match. Indus Sher. They're feuding with Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Don't really know if NXT's tag team division is where it needs to be, especially with these two guys. All I see, like I said, are two Jinder Mahals. I will give them an opportunity to see what happens. This really wasn't a showcase of, what what they could do. This didn't really give me any indication that I should give a fuck about them. So they beat Everrise in a squash match. But now they have a name. Indus Sher. S-H-E-R. I'm sure, I think. I seen on Twitter. One word means river and the other word means tiger or something like that. I don't fucking know. I really don't know. These guys will be dead in 6 months. So we got the NXT Cruiserweight Championship. Cruiserweight Championship is being vacated for the time being. Now, Jordan Devlin is the Cruiserweight Champion. Let me pull up the fucking news article because I seen it this morning. We got Jordan Devlin as the Cruiserweight Champion. And WWE is crowning an interim Cruiserweight Champion as announced on The Bump with William Regal. WWE announced on Wednesday during their online show, The Bump, you should be bumped off fucking social media, that a new interim Cruiserweight Champion will be crowned in a tournament. The current champion, Jordan Devlin, will not be able to travel to the United States because of travel restrictions, so he will not be able to defend his title. Since they are using the word interim, obviously this is going to be turned into a storyline for the new champion to go against the old champion and then kind of unify the titles at that juncture when things get back to normal. Now, since they're using the word interim for the tournament winner, it sounds like I said, it will be a clash of champions when the time is right. UFC often does this. They will crown an interim champion whenever the current champ is unable to defend his title for an extended period of time. The WWE will be taping more TV in the coming days this week, so we should know more on who is involved in the tournaments. This is what the tweet read. As first announced by William Regal on The Bump, a tournament will be held to determine an interim NXT Cruiserweight Champion as Jordan Devlin is in the UK and unable to defend his title due to current circumstances. I don't know why Jordan Devlin just couldn't defend the championship over there and things would be okay. This is what we all thought was going to be the reason for the Cruiserweight Championship going over to the NXT UK brand. It's going to be multi-brand defended, right? It's going to be defended on NXT UK. It's going to be defended on NXT here in America. It's going to be an NXT title. So I don't know why they have to go through this when he could easily defend the title over there and have a nice little thing going on with Tyler Bate or have something going on with Mark Andrews. Some of those guys over there that fit into the cruiserweight mentality. So I don't really understand why there's a need to do this tournament when a simple, easy solution was right there readily available to them. But Jordan Devlin said that this is a disgrace, this is a travesty, blah, 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 on social media, disrespectful to him and the championship. It's all storyline. And whoever is going to win this championship here, I mean, I'm not going to complain at the end of it all. I don't mind tournaments. I'm just saying that there's a simple solution for this. I don't mind tournaments. I love tournaments. Whoever wins the tournament, I'm sure is going to have a great fucking match with Jordan Devlin. Hopefully by that time, we'll have a live fucking audience so these guys could actually make it mean something and the overall tournament and the championship unification match could have some sort of importance. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. So that's the news there. If you guys were wondering about the Cruiserweight Championship and if you've seen whatever happened on NXT last night with their announcement for the Cruiserweight Championship. Johnny Gargano defeated Tommaso Ciampa in what I really didn't think was a match, but it was a brawl inside the Performance Center, and this thing went nearly 1 hour. Nearly 1 hour. Now, as soon as I watched this thing, it was, oh shit, this is going to be great. Cinematic. It was shot like the Boneyard match. NXT crew and Jeremy Borash, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and all the NXT crew had a major hand in the Boneyard match. Same thing happened here. It was inside an empty Full Sail University, and it was just gutted out completely. They had the NXT ring aprons turned inside out. It was nothing but a black mat in a ring with black aprons, NXT turnbuckles. Good to go. Good to go. Bleachers were all, disassembled, and it was just a great visual. It was like an old gunslinger-like cowboy movie, where you got the good guy and you got the bad guy, right? The good guy's in the ring, and then the bad guy, being led by his wife, joins the match, and we are underway. I want to get into my opinion on what I've seen first before we break this thing down and go over the notes. The only thing wrong with this match was two things. One, the length of the match. The length of the match was too long. There's no reason why any matches in this current situation, there's no reason why any matches with what we are watching, the way pro wrestling is being presented, need to go fucking 45 minutes, 50 minutes, 55 minutes, close to an hour. There's no fucking reason. There's no reason. Now, I did not get bored watching these guys. I could watch these guys wrestle all day long. I don't give a fuck how long the match was. But at some point, you get to a point where you start thinking to yourself, man, Jesus Christ, why is this so long? They could have shaved this thing down by 15 to 20 minutes, and it would have been fucking great. It would have been great. There's no reason for this match to be as long as it was. This match went nearly the entire second hour of NXT with 5 commercial breaks. 5 commercial breaks. I don't know why they didn't opt to do the picture-in-picture or why they didn't opt to fucking limit the commercial breaks during something this important. For all those people who say, moving a WWE pay-per-view to a Fox or this or that. This is your future. You want a fucking main event match riddled with 5, 6, 7, 8 commercials? Give me a break. This was fucking absolutely nauseating to watch with 5 commercial breaks thrown in the goddamn match. And they got worse as the match went on. The match was too long. There's no way matches in this current situation should be this long. I'm sorry. I don't give a fuck who's in the ring. I cannot sit there and watch these guys wrestle for that long with no fan interaction. Fans are needed. I want you guys to think back to Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano at TakeOver New York. 2 out of 3 falls. If that match had no live audience and they wrestled the way that they did, and it was in front of an empty arena, would we still be sitting here saying that is the greatest NXT match of all time? No. No. That's the vibe I got from this thing. It's great. I love both of these guys to death. But I'm not going to sit here and say, man, this is something I'm going to go back and watch. Why did we all go back and watch countless times Johnny and Ciampa's matches? Why did we go back and watch countless times Johnny Gargano winning that first NXT World Championship? It was because of the fucking audience. You were on the edge of your seat because of the fucking audience in New York. I can't say that about this final chapter. I can't. The fact that it was too long is one of my problems. The other problem that I had was it was open-ended when the entire thing had come to an end. It was open-ended. For weeks, last time ever, final time. You guys are going to do this. I'm going to find you a fucking building. I'm going to find you a ring. And we're going to do this, and that's it. And if this continues, both of you will be out of here. It was left open-ended. Now, I want to think that Triple H has a lot of credibility amongst everybody in the community. For what he did and what he has done with NXT, Triple H has a lot of credibility. When Triple H says something in regards to NXT, more than likely, Triple H is being open and honest about NXT. And open and honest with what he's telling you. It was open-ended, and I just don't know. I can make an assumption, I can make a guess, just based off what I've seen through 3 years of battles with these guys. It was open-ended to a point where I don't know if Triple H is spewing us bullshit about it being the final time between Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, or if this is really not over between these guys. I don't know. And if it's not over, is Ciampa going to get his fucking revenge after what happened? And if he doesn't, it's going to make his babyface character look a little weak because he's not going to go and seek revenge on Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae. So it's a lose-lose situation. You might feel that Triple H bullshitted you. Oh, it's the last match, and it ends up not being the last match. Now, he could be telling the truth for all we know. I don't fucking know. But if he is, and Ciampa doesn't go get his revenge, it's one of those situations where Tommaso Ciampa is going to look weaker for it in the end. That's just the way I see it. So, at the end of it all, I do not think that this is the end for them. I don't. I think that we do see, at some point in the future, more Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. Because if you're Triple H, how are you looking at this and you're okay with a storyline that he's said it publicly? I mean, he said it publicly. This is a storyline that brings him back to the days of him and Shawn Michaels feuding. This is him. Triple H is living vicariously through Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. Shawn Michaels is doing the same thing. This is them now in other bodies. How do you think Triple H feels knowing that he had his main event fucked last year, which they got incredibly lucky with how things turned out, ended up being the best NXT match that they've ever produced. But it was a plan B. It was not the original plan for the TakeOver main event. It was supposed to be the conclusion of Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. Johnny was supposed to beat Ciampa for the title. Now, they had to go back to the drawing board and continue this to try and hopefully make sense of it. And it really isn't at a point where I feel they in NXT management are happy about it being the final chapter with what we seen last night. I know I wouldn't. I know I wouldn't be. if I'm Triple H, I'm looking at last night as, yeah, it's a great cinematic just journey. But I'm not looking at that as, man, I'm happy about that. I'm happy with that outcome. I'm happy with what we've seen. You know, this is it. It's all over. No. You're going to hope for things to get better, and Johnny's not going anywhere. God forbid he goes to the fucking main roster. He'll get buried. And then Tommaso Ciampa has already said if he goes to the main roster, he's retiring. They're not going anywhere. They have all these years to hopefully revisit that again and get the final conclusion that we all deserve. Those are the only two things that I found to be wrong with the match. The other minor criticism that I had with the match was Candice LeRae's involvement. I don't know if I would have necessarily had Candice LeRae in that environment, in the role that she played. Now, before the match started, before Johnny Gargano walked into the empty Full Sail arena, she handed Johnny a brown paper bag, and it was rolled up like she was packing him a lunch and sending him off to school. We didn't know what was in the bag at the time of the beginning of the match. And by the end of this thing, I was so enthralled with what these guys were doing and how brutally they were beating the shit out of each other that I didn't even realize about the bag until Candice LeRae came back. And Johnny pulled out what was a cup, a protective cup for his junk from his pants. And I'm like, oh, that's what Candice LeRae handed him. It makes me wonder why that was even a necessary spot. So you mean to tell me that Candice LeRae waited for these guys to beat the fucking living shit out of one another, near death, to come and stop everything, just to have a protective cup spot where she could be able to low blow Tommaso Ciampa by fooling him and tricking him? I didn't really understand that. If they wanted Candice involved, all they had to do was have Candice involved and have her play the role of a concerned wife. Johnny is already acting abnormal. Candice could come in there because we haven't seen Candice throughout this entire thing. When people asked Candice about Johnny, she didn't want to hear anything about Johnny. I seen an interview with Candice LeRae saying, I don't want to talk about Johnny. Let's do the respectful thing and ask me about the ladder match they got coming up so I could concentrate on that and hopefully become the number one contender for the NXT Women's Championship. People are asking her about Johnny, making her seem, and whatever she's doing, irrelevant and unimportant. We didn't need Candice to hand Johnny a paper bag with a protective cup in it. All she could have did was come out and play the concerned wife. She knows these guys better than anybody. That's family. Ciampa's family. And in that moment, Johnny would have been so just, out of it, with his wife standing there pleading with him and crying, I don't know you, I hate you, right? I hate you for what you're doing here. You're not only ruining your life, you're ruining mine. Stop. For the love of God, stop. All she had to do, if she wanted to kick him, by all means, kick him. But we didn't need a protective cup spot. She could have pinpointed a weakness in Tommaso Ciampa and did the same thing without the protective cup spot. And it would have been a little bit more, it would have been a little bit more shocking for Candice to do that to Ciampa and help Johnny without the protective cup. I feel like the protective cup made them look like a bunch of dopes. I think if it was something without the protective cup or a spot without the protective cup, I think it would have been a little bit more shocking and it would have been a little bit more profound. Right there. Oh, shit, Candice is helping Johnny and she's helping him beat Tommaso Ciampa. But outside that, I love what they did. I mean, if there's one match or one feud that could really be enhanced or taken to another level with this type of production, it's that. It's that. Now, I don't want to start seeing these cinematic matches like we see, a fucking barrage of ladder matches or a barrage of steel cage matches. I don't want to see any of that shit happen over and over and over again because now it's the in thing to do. The community, oh my God, it's great, right? We don't need to see fucking boneyard matches every other month. We don't need to see cinematic matches every month. Matt Hardy on AEW is already teasing an elite deletion match with Chris Jericho. I feel if they do that, yeah, it fits Matt Hardy's character because he's the originator of this shit. We all got into this shit because of him and his broken universe and Rebby. But now I feel that he mentioned that and brought that to AEW last night. People got excited, and it's only because of what we're seeing and all the hype surrounding what WWE is doing and how well it was received. I feel if AEW does it immediately, they're jumping on the WWE bandwagon. They're jumping on the hype that WWE created with these cinematic matches. And if that's the case, I would hold off on doing it until it makes better sense. Don't do it now because it's the in thing to do. Do it when Matt Hardy's character calls for it and it needs to happen. Because WWE, like everything else, they're going to make it seem uncool. We've had 3 matches like this in the last week. We had the Boneyard match, we had whatever the fuck they did with the Firefly Funhouse, and we got this match with Johnny and Ciampa last night. The more we see it, the more it's going to become unspecial. It's not going to feel special anymore. The match was billed as Blackheart versus Rebel Heart. This was a very cinematic match, like I said, more like the Boneyard match. But it was more straightforward. No gimmicky shit, no fire, no fucking souls, and none of that shit, right? It was just straightforward Johnny and Ciampa fucking just beating the shit out of one another. This was a throwback to everything. This was, if you took all of their feuds and wrapped them up into one big ball, that's exactly what you got with this match. There was spots where they highlighted Ciampa's injuries. There was a spot where they highlighted the ring being pulled up and the ring mat being pulled up. It was an homage. It was a throwback. It was a culmination of all of their feuds thrown into this one big epic brawl in this contained black Full Sail universe. I love the atmosphere. It was very gritty. It was very raw. And it set the perfect stage. Before we even get into the match, Triple H was in the ring, and he was like someone out of the mafia, almost, right? You guys are going to beat the shit out of each other, right? And it ends here. And if it doesn't, both of you are gone. As soon as I walk out that door, you got the referee here, he's in charge, okay? Drake, or whatever the fuck his name is, referee, the senior referee in NXT. He's here to simply count a 3 count. As soon as I walk out of that door, you guys need to do what you got to do. And that's it. So I love Triple H in here. He was just very, very straightforward. And him being there and him presenting this match to everybody on TV and with Johnny and Ciampa standing there, it just made it seem important. Made it feel big with Triple H involved there. So Gargano and his wife arrived to this location. It was Full Sail. In an SUV, Gargano got out of the driver's seat. LeRae walked around the vehicle. And he told her that she knew why he had to do this. Ciampa's a monster. LeRae got into the driver's seat, but before she drove away, she handed him a black paper bag. And in the paper bag, obviously, was revealed later on in the match to be a protective cup. So Gargano walked into the building. Triple H was seated on a chair. Triple H said they were right on time. This is where it ends. Drake, the referee, in charge. He's only here to make the 3 count. As soon as I walk out of the door, it's underway. And we got underway. They began back and forth with big blows. Gargano took a huge bump in the corner, Ric Flair style, flipping over the turnbuckle. Gargano went for a slingshot. Ciampa caught him with a knee. And we go to a commercial break. Back from commercial. Ciampa was in control after the break. Gargano fought back, targeted the leg. And he posted Ciampa's leg several times, began to just really go to work on him at ringside. Ciampa lifted Gargano into a vertical suplex and then posted him. Gargano fought back, flew back through the ropes with a tope suicida. Gargano taunted Ciampa while he was beating him down. Weapons were being used, trash can lids, trash cans, a crutch, a fire extinguisher, you name it. It got involved. Tables were involved. Gargano unfolded a chair, sat down in the ring, started talking shit to Ciampa. He then picked up the chair and started to hit Ciampa with it. Gargano wedged the chair into the corner, but he tasted the steel when Ciampa reversed an Irish whip. So we go to another commercial break. After commercial break, Ciampa cracked Gargano in the head with I believe he cracked Gargano in the head when Gargano attempted to slingshot himself out of the ring with a trash can lid. So that was that. Ciampa put a chair around the neck of Gargano and posted him into the steel post with it wrapped around his neck. That looked brutal. That was a callback, another callback to one of their previous feuds, that unsanctioned match that they had. Gargano started crawling away. Ciampa was just unmerciful. He retrieved the crutch, and he said, "This brings back memories." It was his crutch wrapped in camouflage. Attacked Gargano with it. This was also a callback to their feud. Gargano shot Ciampa in the face with a fire extinguisher to create some separation. Ciampa came back to powerbomb Gargano through a table. Another callback is, like I said, Ciampa took the pliers or the bolt cutters and started unclipping the padding from the ring and pulled up the ring mat. Another callback to their unsanctioned match, and he exposed the ring with the wooden boards underneath. So then the fight spilled outside of the building. Gargano was running away, like the heel he is. And obviously, Ciampa's like, it has to end in here. It has to end in here, right? So now we're outside the building. Gargano tried to just fucking kill Ciampa with one of the production crates, one of those rolling production crates, because they were brawling. At one point, Ciampa was laying down on the fucking concrete against one of the big rigs, one of the production trucks. He was laying against one of the big tires. Johnny rolled a huge production crate right into him, and thankfully he moved. So Ciampa moved out of the way. Ciampa climbed on top of the big production truck, and he dared Gargano to follow him up there. So they were fighting on top of the truck. There was an aerial shot from a drone that looked really nice, of the drone looking down on top of them. So they were on top of this big rig. They squared off. Referee was up there as well. Seemed like one too many people to be up there, but he was up there. 3 guys up there with both of these guys beating the shit out of each other. And they traded strikes. Ciampa threatened to throw Johnny off the truck, which, I mean, knowing these guys, I would have not been surprised if it happened. So Ciampa became locked in the Gargano escape on top of the truck. That was a nice visual. So Johnny got the Gargano escape on Ciampa on top of the truck. They were still on top of the truck. We go to commercial. They had climbed down. They're going back into the building. Gargano was hiding to ambush Ciampa. He was hiding on the bleachers that were all folded up in the back. He was hiding away from Ciampa, jumped on him with a flying crossbody, and put Ciampa through a table that was engulfed in a black cloth. They got back into the ring. The mat was pulled up and the wooden boards exposed. They fought on the turnbuckles. Ciampa gave Gargano a code red off the top to the floor. Or it was a code red or a fucking, it was a air raid crash, I believe it was. Might have been an air raid crash. But, my God, on the concrete or the floor, which was thinly padded, because you heard the splat, we had an air raid crash from the top rope down to the floor by Tommaso Ciampa on Johnny Gargano. So Ciampa rolled Gargano back into the ring, covered him for the only pinfall attempt of the match. So Gargano kicked out. We go to another commercial break. Gargano was choking Ciampa with a crutch. He repeatedly hit him with a trash can lid. Ciampa ate some super kicks. Gargano was screaming at him, calling Ciampa a failure. He was a failure of a performer, a failure of a father, a failure of a husband. Clearly, this woken Tommaso Ciampa up into a fucking frenzy. Ciampa fired up after Gargano mentioned Ciampa's family. Ciampa broke the crutch over Gargano several times, and there were pieces of crutch everywhere. They were fighting over the crutch, and the referee was inadvertently raked in the eyes. So Drake Younger, the referee, was raked in the eyes, and then it looked like Ciampa did it on fucking purpose, but I'm going to assume it was an accident. So Younger was raked in the eyes, and then Tommaso Ciampa gave him a shining wizard, I guess inadvertently, because he was aiming for Johnny. Johnny moved. Ciampa hit the referee. Referee landed on the outside, and he took a bump off the apron. So Gargano took a draping DDT on the exposed boards. There was a close-up after that of Gargano putting his hand over Tommaso Ciampa in a very sincere manner, almost as if, I don't know why we're doing this. I love you. Please stop. But Ciampa took his hand away. He took his hand away. So there was a situation where both guys were down. They were just literally beating the shit out of one another. At this point, you knew the match was coming to a close. Candice LeRae walked into the building, and she was obviously upset. She got into the ring. She was fake crying. I didn't really know at that point because I completely forgot about the brown paper bag. So she was visibly upset, begging them to stop. She asked Johnny, "Who are you? Who are you?" LeRae then turned to Ciampa and screamed, "Are you happy? You made me hate my husband." She's yelling at Ciampa. "I hate my husband. Are you happy?" So she was crying, and she told Ciampa to finish it. Ciampa just stood there. She said, "If you're not going to finish it, I will. Fine, I'll finish it." And she kicked Johnny in the balls. So Johnny goes down, selling the low blow. So after the low blow, Ciampa went over, dropped to his knees, and he was consoling Gargano at this moment. They got face to face as Ciampa looked Gargano up and down. He looked sad. He looked upset over what happened. They were telling each other, "It's over. I'm sorry. I love you." Ciampa was telling Gargano he was sorry for what he was about to do. Whatever. LeRae then ran back in and kicked Ciampa with a low blow from behind. So Candice got the low blow on Ciampa. Ciampa fell to the mat. Gargano got up, reached into his pants, pulled out a protective cup to show that he was protected from the low blow that Candice gave him. And Gargano dropped Ciampa with a fairy tale ending on the exposed boards. Gargano then covered for the pinfall, and Drake, the referee, made the 3 count. Gargano smirked and embraced LeRae. They walked arm in arm out of the building. Ciampa was in the ring selling the effects of the low blow and the fairy tale ending. And then obviously we all seen, and was all over social media, Candice and Johnny walking out of the building, and there was a parked car. And in the car was Killer Kross. You briefly seen him if you paused it like I did. Who's in the car? Who's in the car? At first I thought it was Triple H just, waiting for this thing to be over. But if you guys go back to last week when Triple H says, "I'm going to find you a building. I'm going to find you a venue, and you're going to do this. You're going to end it. You want it? I'll find you a building, and we'll make it official." And at the end of the NXT episode that week, a promo for Killer Kross aired. Now, it didn't say anything about Killer Kross, but you seen Killer Kross tick-tock, tick-tock. It's Killer Kross waiting outside in the black vehicle, windows down, wanting to be seen. It's him and Scarlett Bordeaux sitting in the vehicle. Johnny and Ciampa get into their SUV. They drive away. They drive right past the car, not even paying that vehicle any attention. And that's the way NXT went off the air. So clearly Killer Kross has a role in this. He's eyeing Johnny Gargano. Looks like Killer Kross might be. Now, we don't even know. I'm making an assumption. I would say Killer Kross come in as a heel and go after Ciampa. That's just me. But Killer Kross might be coming in as a babyface, and he may be going after Johnny. Now, I don't know what role he's going to play, but the only thing, and I'm excited about it, so I'm not even really going to make any assumptions. I am excited about it, and what I want you guys to be aware of is, A, how high Triple H is already with Killer Kross, and how he's been waiting to get Scarlett Bordeaux on TV. This is the perfect opportunity. There's no better pairing, than husband and wife. So here you go. Triple H is already high on Killer Kross for the simple fact that he's already feuding him with Johnny, who's the face of the fucking brand. And Tommaso Ciampa in this thing. 2 of them are the faces of NXT. Kross is going to be right in between, right away. His first big feud is Johnny Gargano or Tommaso Ciampa. We don't know which role he's going to play. That says a lot. It also says a lot about Johnny Gargano or Tommaso Ciampa and what Triple H thinks of them and how he values them, how he trusts them. One or the other. Could be both. Could be Johnny, could be Ciampa. Trust both of them to take care of Killer Kross and really aid him on his ascent to being the new number one guy in NXT. So I'm very interested to see what's going to be done here. And Killer Kross, this was the time frame that Dave Meltzer said Killer Kross was about to debut anyway. It wouldn't be in these circumstances. It would have been a little bit more epic. It would have been a little bit more normal. It would have been a little bit more exciting with the reaction. Oh, shit, Killer Kross is here. I would have loved to know how this thing would have played out in front of a live audience if this was actually on a legit takeover show. So, Killer Kross is there. He was with Scarlett Bordeaux. That's the way the show went off the air. I thought this was great. I really did. Just to go over it again, I do think that it was open-ended. I do not think this feud is over. If I'm Triple H, I'm knowing that this can't be it. This is not really how I envisioned it. I'm going to fucking do this thing until we get the proper ending for these guys. It was a little bit open-ended. Did Triple H bullshit everybody, making everybody believe this was the last match? I don't think so. And if Ciampa does not get his revenge, it's going to make him look weak. But at the end, I do think that they kind of circle back after a while, and we do get the proper ending over a championship like it was intended to be. Now, I don't know where Killer Kross plays into this. I'm going to be very intrigued to see what they do with him. But knowing that he's coming in and his first opponent is either going to be Tommaso Ciampa or Johnny Gargano, you know, it's going to be interesting. But I thought this was great. Outside of a hiccup with Candice LeRae, the open-endedness of it, and the simple fact that it was too long, I think I enjoyed what I seen out of Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. There's no greater story in NXT, and it's one of the greatest stories that WWE has ever produced. That's my take on the Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa match. And this is exactly what Edge and Randy Orton should have been. Seriously. Whatever they did with the Firefly Funhouse, whatever. It wasn't even a match at that point. It was nothing but one big vignette about John Cena's fears. That's all that was. And we'll go over that on Off the Script this weekend. But Edge and Randy Orton should have been produced with no commentary, like Gargano and Ciampa, and it should have been done like that at WrestleMania. That's just my opinion on that. It would have been, I honestly think if Edge and Randy Orton were produced the same way as Gargano and Ciampa, I think 99% of the community would have been in favor of what they see. Just because it was the way it was at WrestleMania, a lot of people shit on it. Then you start getting all the fucking negative reactions. Oh, it was too long. Oh, it was this and that. Randy Orton's boring and blah, blah, blah. Right? But if it was shot the way Gargano and Ciampa were, I don't think people would be complaining about it whatsoever. And it needed to be done that way. I even said so on the fucking review when I did WrestleMania. My WrestleMania review. But then you're going to get the people, how many cinematic matches can we have, blah, blah, blah. You know, you never win with these people. If there was one other match on the show that needed a cinematic way, if that was the way the Firefly Funhouse was going to be produced, it should have been Edge and Randy Orton. Should have been Edge and Randy Orton. That's my take on NXT, guys. I loved it. Outside of it was too long. Candice LeRae really didn't need to be involved with the cup. And the open-endedness of the ending. I thought it was an excellent, for now, final chapter, which I don't think it is, on Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. I'm getting out of here. Hope you enjoyed the podcast today. Let me know what you think down below. I don't know how this video is going to do. I don't think you guys really give a shit about Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, NXT. For whatever reason, it is what it is. It's there if you guys want to have fun with it. Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you think about everything that happened on NXT. Guys, I'll see you later today. I'll be live streaming Resident Evil 3. Until then, have a good one, and I'll see you for Off the Script, as usual, on Friday for episode 320. I'm JD. Hit that thumbs up and subscribe button, and I'll see you right back here on the podcast. See you guys later.